Hey everyone, I'm Jasiek and welcome to my show. Today I got a special guest all the way from Indiana, a fellow IU Hoosier. Please help me welcome Andrew Meyer.
So, how are things?
Things are going really well. I'm soon to be married in a couple of months, so we
Congratulations.
thank you. And so we are finishing up our final plans later this month, and then I get to finally relax and enjoy myself after that.
Very nice. Going anywhere special?
We are planning to go to Disney World for the
Happiest
honeymoon.
place on earth.
Yes. I've been once. She's been many times, and so gonna stay in the Wilderness Lodge and just kind of go to all the parks.
It'll be fun, hopefully. Weather's got to be better than most other places that time of year,
Definitely.
so that'll be enjoyable. How are things otherwise? How's the job going?
Job's going well. I'm currently just working on getting things back under control during the spring break and trying to make sure that everything's in working order when the students come back next week.
Okay. Now, maybe you can enlighten some people. You made an actual kind of career switch. You're still within schools, but you're doing a whole different thing.
Yeah, so I went to school for music education and started out actually as an elementary music teacher. Did that for 4 years and then decided that it wasn't my calling, and so from there I switched over and started working in the IT department for Indiana University, and I work in their policy and security office, and I'm an analyst for incidents and things that happen around.
So, talk me through kind of what that switch was like. I can't imagine that being a really easy decision to make as far as making that career path change.
Well, it is a big jump going from education to IT. It was over a year's worth of progress. I moved up to Fishers, Indiana, outside of Indianapolis from Columbus, and that's about an hour away. And I was searching for teaching jobs, and then when I was finding a lack of luck for that, I kind of started widening my horizons, and I was looking in IT and other things that I had a brief background on, not necessarily a degree or certificate, but just kind of feeling around to see what else was available to me, and asked a bunch of people who work for different companies up here for advice and for help on what to kind of look for and what to learn up on. And finally, this past summer, I got the interview with IU and was able to get the job there.
Very cool. Well, I'm sure it was tough, but so far so good, right?
Yes, I'm really enjoying myself, and it is a huge switch from interacting with hundreds of children every day and being on your feet all day running around the school to sitting in an office all day and interacting with maybe 5 people tops.
Wow. Now, what would if someone else was going through kind of a similar situation, what would you try to say as far as help them along with their thought process in case they want to decide like, hey, I have this option to go to this other job here or there, really don't know how to make that switch. Maybe they're in the same situation where went to school for something, but now there's a different path opening up for them.
I would say that if that opportunity arises, definitely go for it, especially if you are fresh and younger and have that opportunity to change. Lots of research. I looked online and tried to find out what certificates I needed or what classes I should take. I asked my sources for people who I talked to about IT fields, what I should be studying up on and what information I should be able to spout out at a moment's notice, and just kind of looking through that, looking at interview questions in that particular field, because different questions are asked for different things. A teacher's going to be asked different things than an engineer, for example.
For sure.
So basically just really making sure that you fully commit to the switch, and rather than just sending feelers out and making that it, because that was a mistake I made first off, and it wasn't successful at all. Because of that, I wasn't fully committed to it, and I think that the companies that I applied to saw that. And so that once that second year of me looking started, then and I was starting to commit more to it and trying to learn more, and be more credentialed for it, then more interviews showed up and the job opportunity came.
All right, well, I'm glad things all worked out. I believe everything happens for a reason, so best of luck on the new career path.
Thank you. I also think that everything happens for a reason.
So now to get a little more serious.
All right.
Here we go. My favorite question to ask people, and I love asking it myself at times as well, is a question, what if? Now this is a very loaded question because you can take it numerous different ways.
Yes.
I think it's a very fun question to have because you can kind of assess things here and there. You can think, hey, what if this happened? Or you could think down a different path, hey, what if this happened? So what I want to ask you is if you can think back, some point in your life, it could be just a little bit ago, a couple months, it could have been 20 years ago, if you remember that far back, to a major event in your life that may have had some sort of impact or a major impact, or a decision you made, like a very big decision. Granted, we already talked about your job, so we'll try to think of something else, but
Okay.
Can you think of a big event or decision that happened in your life?
Well, you took away the one that popped into my head first. What I was thinking of first was college, obviously, looking in a different field from that. I'll give you a different answer like you asked, but just to evolve that. So, for a music degree, you got to practice 3-5 hours a day and take 19 plus credit hours every semester, and it really takes away from the social aspect. And I feel if I hadn't been in the marching 100, I really wouldn't have any opportunity to know people.
Sure.
Like you and I wouldn't have met without
That's
that.
true.
So so the obvious one would be wanting to go back and experience college knowing what I know now. So being in a field that's more appropriate for my line of work now, being able to have more free time to get to know people and spend more time during my day getting to enjoy college instead of from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. just go, 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 and then go to bed or maybe stay up for an hour or two, but that's about it. But since you asked me something different from the obvious, let me think about that one for a second. I think the next biggest one comes from about 15 years ago. I originally lived in Cincinnati, and my dad got a job opportunity to come to Indiana, and I think that decision is the one that affects me the most out of my life, because if we hadn't moved, we'd still be in Cincinnati. I probably would have gone to an Ohio college, either Cincinnati or Ohio State. Definitely would not have even considered music as anything other than a hobby. And I definitely would not be working for IU because I wouldn't have had that background with it. So I don't even know where I would be at that point if that hadn't happened. I would probably either be in an engineering position or following in my dad's footsteps working for a TV station of some sort, but I can't even put myself in that in my 10-year-old's mindset and think, what am I going to do?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I love about the question, what if, is like, what if that never happened? Because I have similar situations, I know everyone does. But it's fun and it's scary to think about because in your situation, what if I'd never changed states that I lived in? It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
If you can imagine like where you'd be right now, it's like we probably wouldn't even be here in this apartment.
Definitely not.
So, but it is fun to think about that. Even though if you had been in a different state, maybe even a different career path, what could have happened to see if the universe could have still worked in a way that we could have still crossed paths or something.
Maybe.
Because, having, I'm from Illinois, you're from originally Cincinnati, but I knew you from Indiana.
Right.
It would have been interesting if we still would have ended up going to the same school either way. Or to see if somehow we would have crossed paths at a different point in time.
The easiest one I could think of would be if I picked Ohio State as a college, and then the IU's band and Ohio State's band usually meet up and have a battle of the bands. So that's really the only way, because one of the reasons I picked IU was the fact that it was so close and in-state tuition was an
Sure.
option.
Yeah.
So I don't even, and again, it's just the what if question is so hard because so many things change based on that one decision.
Yeah, and that's why I love the question, because there's so many different things that could happen after that one point you pick that it's kind of mind blowing as to which direction you could go. Since you mentioned it earlier, you're now engaged, soon to be married. How do you think that would have affected you at this point? Do you think you still could have been engaged, almost married, if you had never moved?
See, I don't even know if that one's a little bit trickier. My parents met in their marching band, and so that always kind of set a tone with me, and I wanted to try and do the same. And I know that my fiance was the same way. She wanted to meet someone from IU, and if she was lucky, from the marching band as well.
Sure.
And so, I mean, I just don't even know how our paths already were pretty, I don't want to say random, and I also don't want to say fate. Well, no, I will say that. It was
Go ahead.
fate that all of those pieces fell into place and that we were able to meet and start dating and fall in love and all those things. So, I would love to think that with life having a way that we'd still be able to find each other and that our paths would cross in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. And see, that's what I think that's the biggest almost variable when it comes with this question is if no matter what happened at that point in time, if things would still kind of fall into place one way or another, or if it would be an entirely separate direction that you were set in. So, yeah.
Well, and I know we had talked before, I mentioned the power of what if, where you can go into an alternate reality for however long you want, and then you snap back into the real world from there. That's why that would be the superpower I would want, is just because there's so many opportunities for that, and it's just limitless, and the imagination is the only thing holding you back from having that power.
Yeah, I would love to be able to just kind of drift in and out, even if it was just to see, what could have been. I don't know if I necessarily want to know the future, because the future's kind of scary.
Right.
But, it would be nice to kind of see what could have been right now in a different sense if you had chosen one different thing in your life.
Right. Well, and that's the beauty of it and why it depends so much on the imagination of the user. It could be as simple as, what if I had sausage for breakfast instead of bacon? Or it can be as complex as, what if I had been born in a different country?
Right, yeah. Yeah, fun to think about. It's deep stuff. Well, hey, I appreciate you sharing. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So, if you ever have any questions as to career paths, hopefully maybe this would have cleared something up for you. And make sure you stay tuned, guys, for the next episode. Special thanks to my guest, Andrew Meyer. See you guys next time.